them all what I'm made up. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.
Okay, let's get straight into it. We're doing a deep dive today on a really quite disturbing case coming out of Wisconsin.
Yeah, this one is definitely unsettling.
We're looking at the situation surrounding Nikita Casap, a 17-year-old who's been accused of killing his parents back in February 2025.
And our main source material here, it's primarily an ABC News report, right? Pulling from court documents.
Exactly. So our aim is to unpack the main allegations, look into the extremist ideologies that seem to be involved, and just get a sense of where the legal process stands right now.
And it's quite something because you have this alleged, horrific family crime.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems potentially tangled up with this much larger plot, a plot apparently targeting national leadership.
Right. So let's break down the charges. Nikita Casap, he's 17, while Asia County authorities have charged him with 2 counts of first-degree murder.
And also charges related to hiding the bodies. Hiding a corpse, I think is the term.
Yes. But like you said, it seems to go, well, quite a bit further, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. There's talk, serious talk, of potential federal charges, too. Things like conspiracy, presidential assassination, potentially, and even use of weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction. That just escalates things dramatically. It's far beyond what you initially think of.
It really is. It suggests a scope, way beyond a typical, though still tragic, homicide investigation.
And the alleged why behind all this, it's just, well, staggering. Reports suggest the motive, the reason for allegedly killing his parents, was to get funds and, I guess, independence, to carry out a plan to assassinate President Donald Trump and overthrow the U.S. government.
It's almost hard to believe. The court documents apparently draw that direct line from the alleged parricide to this huge, radical political goal.
Okay, let's cover the specifics of the crime itself, the timeline. Casap's stepfather, Donald Mayer, he was 51, and his mother, Tatiana Casap, 35. They were found dead in their home in Wisconsin. That was on March 1st this year.
Right, March 1st. And Casap himself was arrested later that same month.
And you mentioned the murder and hiding a corpse charges. There were other state charges filed, too.
Yes. Alongside those, he's facing state charges for theft. Pretty significant theft, over $10,000. And also misappropriating ID to get money.
Which seems to fit the narrative, unfortunately, if the goal was funding something bigger.
Exactly. Those charges really seem to bolster the idea that he was trying to finance, this larger alleged agenda.
Okay, this is where it really dives into the extremist angle. Investigators reportedly found material on Casap's phone.
Yeah, linked to something called the Order of Nine Angles.
What is that? What do we know about this group?
Well, from what's understood, it's described as a sort of network. Individuals who hold neo-Nazi beliefs, racially motivated extremism.
Neo-Nazi.
Yes, and what's sort of distinct, if that's the right word, is their apparent embrace of occultism alongside, virulent anti-Semitism. Finding this connection is significant.
It really paints a picture. And it gets even more explicit, apparently. The FBI looked at writings, supposedly by Casap.
And these writings?
They allegedly called directly for President Trump's assassination. And talked about a revolution to, quote, save the white race.
Chilling. And there were images, too.
Yeah, reportedly images of Adolf Hitler included with text like, Hail Hitler, hail the white race, hail victory. Just incredibly disturbing stuff.
It really is. And having that kind of explicit, violent, ideological material, it strongly suggests, the influence of this extremist thinking on his alleged plans.
So this wasn't just like thoughts and writings. There was an alleged plan. The affidavit suggests he was actually talking to others about it.
That's one of the most concerning parts, yes. He was allegedly in communication with other people about this plan to kill the president, overthrow the government.
And took steps.
Took concrete steps, reportedly paid, at least partially, for a drone and for explosives, with the alleged intent of using them as a WMD.
The drone and explosives as a weapon of mass destruction. And the affidavit suggests he wasn't necessarily alone in this.
That's right. It hints that others might have known about the plan, maybe even provided some kind of assistance.
Which opens up a whole other level of concern about, potential networks.
It really does. It highlights just how difficult it can be to understand the full scope of these kinds of alleged plots.
Okay, so where are things legally? He had a court appearance recently.
Yes, a preliminary hearing on the state charges. That was April 9th.
Has he entered a plea?
Not yet. He hasn't entered a plea, and he's still in custody.
And what's next in the state case?
The next step is an arraignment. That's scheduled for May 7th, 2025. That's likely when he'll be required to enter a plea on those state charges.
And the potential federal charges are still just under investigation.
As far as we know from the reporting, yes. That federal investigation seems to be ongoing.
So just to recap, we have a 17-year-old accused of murdering his parents, allegedly driven by this really dark extremist ideology.
Neo-Nazi occultist.
And part of a supposed plot against the president and the government itself. It's a deeply unsettling picture.
It truly is. And maybe the thought to leave our listeners with after this deep dive is to consider that intersection, between online radicalization, which seems present here, and how that can seemingly fuel such extreme individual actions, these alleged real-world plots. Thinking about that connection, what does it tell us about the kind of threats we might be facing now?
A very sobering thought to end on. Definitely a case to keep watching.